We on?
Now,
Hi everybody. Welcome back to my journey back to health. Today is Thrifty Thursday. So today I'm going to be doing another one of what's called our sprinkler, where I'm going to be showing you guys different healthy ways to cook and feed your family, including yourself, that also are budget friendly. So today we're going to be making what we're going to be calling a healthier version of chicken tenders and garlic fries. Yummy, yummy. So I already did a lot of prepping off camera to save time. I know, I've been a little lengthy with things, but okay, so I told you, give me some grace, bear with me. So I did a couple things off camera to help prepare. So now I'm just going to be basically showing you how to do this meal and then the finished product. So let's go. So basically, I already have the chicken tenders I'm going to be using. Now, the chicken tenders that I got, you can get a family pack of at least about 30 to 40 strips pre-cut at your local, like Costco, Sam's, things like that. And actually, you can take some of those and use them for later, different recipes. Cut it up, make like maybe later like chicken fried rice, something like that. So you don't have to use everything at once. Like we said, it's about getting the most for your buck, and being able to have different options with the same, one product. So that runs about maybe $11, $12, and like I said, your local Costco or Sam's, warehouse store. So that's why I had the strips. They were already pre-cut. So those are that. And then so for the chicken strips, I'm going to be using to make it healthier versus frying it. And when you do all this heavy grease, I'm actually going to be baking them. And I'm going to be doing, but you still want that crispy taste a lot of the times. So to not get rid of that or sacrifice that, I'm going to actually be using a breadcrumb. So I have my, this panko breadcrumb you can use. It don't have to be a special brand, any store brand. So panko breadcrumb. I have my favorite seasoning. Like I told you guys, I am a seasonaholic person. So for the tenders, we're going to have, I use off camera, what I did to a different route I wanted to take this time was I seasoned the egg yolk that we're going to be coating the tenders in. So we want everything to mesh and come together while it's cooking, not just be sitting on top. So I did that way, and I think that way it'll give it a better taste. So all I used was a little bit of sea salt, onion powder, and season oil. So now let's go ahead and start coating. So also my pan that I'm going to be using, you want to actually coat that with some non-stick spray just so that nothing gets stuck. So basically, it's going to take these strips. First thing you want to do is you want to first coat it in the egg. Take that and you bring it over to your breadcrumb. And you just want to make sure that's coated evenly on both sides. Now, as far as measurements, this is maybe about two cups of breadcrumbs that I used. Like I said, it all depends on how many people you're feeding, your serving size, but you definitely want to start with cups. That's always a good way to go. Is starting with your cup, a cup measurement, and then from there you can basically increase it based on the number of people that you're serving or the number of strips that you're going to be making. So, hope everybody had a great day. My day's been good. You might hear the kids in the background, but that's okay. We going live, so you going to hear some stuff when you go live. Alright. Like I said, just want to take these. These already have been pre-prepped off camera, so they are clean. I definitely clean my chicken. I think I've read something one day where people were saying that you don't have to clean your chicken no more. It's not necessary. I do not advise with that. So I always need to clean beforehand. So definitely. So we got about 2 more that we're going to be using. My kids in the back are tripping. Always something going on in the Florence residence. Mommy, Daddy. Trini, come.
Yes?
What do you need?
It's a slide downstairs.
Okay, Trini, go ahead. Go back downstairs. So It's been seasoned on both sides. That was little Trinity. That's the youngest girl. So she is, yeah. That's all I'm gonna say about her. She thinks she's the boss of everybody in the house. Okay. So now we got that. We'll make sure we coat that really good. Use about the last of our breadcrumbs. Y'all able to see that? Can you see the bread? Did you see that? You got a good shot of this? Okay. So we have all those in here. You want to make sure you whatever you're using, use like a cookie sheet. I use a little just a dish, for today. On camera, but anything that you want to use, you want to make sure that you have, like I said, just make sure you coat it with the non-stick spray so that you don't have any mishaps after it's cooking, and make sure that you lay the strips down flat on that surface. Okay, so we're gonna coat. We're gonna coat that. We're gonna sprinkle a little bit more seasoned salt. I told you I am a seasoned fanatic. Now you need to take into consideration if you have other issues, but sea salt is definitely a good alternative to table salt. So you're gonna take that, and then we're gonna coat the top again with the non-stick spray. So that's gonna give those breadcrumbs that crisp look and that crisp taste afterwards. That just helps give it that extra coat and everything to mold together. Okay, so we're gonna put this in the oven a little later. So now let's go. So now we're gonna go to the potatoes. So like I said, I did a lot of things off camera. So I already peeled the potatoes and skinned them as best as I could. You don't have to be perfect, but you want to make sure that you get a good amount of the skin off. So this is gonna basically be cutting these lengthwise. Are you able to see that? And we're gonna make them in that fry. That fry shape. This is also, I don't know if I mentioned it, but this is a great kid-friendly, healthy alternative. So that, your kids won't even realize it, that it's actually healthier for them. All they see is fries and that's it. So we're just going to cut this. A lot of times you can then go down again and make sure you get it in that fry shape as much as possible. Again, we're just cutting to make those potatoes into their fried shape. Some people might say, and this is also, not a very time-consuming meal either. People might say, I don't feel like, cutting, potatoes and stuff like that. During the week, I've been to work all day, blah, blah. And that's awesome. And I feel you. However, something that you can do to help with that is you can cut these potatoes in advance when you do have a minute. And you can put them in the freezer. Isn't that something? Because guess what? When you go in that grocery store and you buying those fries that's already made in that freezer, that's all you're just buying. That's all you're doing is you're buying basically where they've already cut the potatoes and fried them and just froze them. So when you fry them 2 times. So a time saver, money saver, is to cut this stuff in advance. It don't have to be unfreeze it. It don't have to be necessarily the same day, because I definitely understand that. That you may not have the energy or the want to. But eating healthier definitely does entail some meal prepping. As much as we don't want to do that, that's what it entails. Because if you already know ahead of time what your options are, you're less likely to lean towards that fast food, which is not always the best option for you. or healthier option, I should say. And you want it to be a lifestyle thing, not just for a little while lose some weight. You want it to be a lifestyle, and also for your kids too. You have to understand that you don't also have to be McDonald's and pizza and all those fast food venues. There's other ways to still have taste as well as health. So we got one last potato. Like I said, I'm just cutting that potato lengthwise down the middle, and then I'm just taking a knife and going back across, going back down again vertically. And I don't like mine really thick, so some people might like it like that. I guess they call it a steak fry. I don't like it that thick, so I'm cutting it again once I do that. Florence residence is live tonight. If you tuned in to Feds and Friday the other week, I showed you how it was a quiet house, and now you see what I mean. The difference. So, it's going down lengthwise. Like I said, it's something that you can do ahead of time to definitely, save on time. So that way you just basically taking stuff out of the freezer. You can go straight into letting it thaw if you want, or okay. So then we're gonna put everything in here in this bowl. Put everything in the bowl. So now what we want to do is we want to take about 2 to 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, and we're going to coat the potatoes with this. Like I said, it depends on how much you're making. You don't want to overindulge, but it's always good to start with some kind of measurement so that you're not just pouring out the olive oil and not knowing how much you're starting with, and you have a lot of assets on the bottom. I've done that before too, and it's wasteful, quite honestly. So I started with 3, then it should be enough. Now, as you notice, I'm going to season after I do this. So what I'm going to use, because I said it's going to be a garlic fry, we're going to use some seasoned salt, garlic powder, and we're going to use some seasoned oil. So now we're just going to toss everything around in here. Toss everything around. Make sure this is coated evenly.
Can we get a pacifier? Carissa, he got a bottle.
There was a little mini helpers in the background. So everything is coated, as you can see. So from there, you're going to actually put your coated fries onto a sheet. Into a little pan, a cookie sheet or a baking pan. Which I want is better for you. And when you do that, you want to again make sure that everything is laid in that surface flat. As fast as possible. So we're going to add these in here. See, that was a good coating. We didn't have a lot of excess left over olive oil, so everything pretty much got coated. So, like I said, they are garlic fries, so we want to just put a little extra garlic powder. Not garlic salt. Some people use garlic salt. That's a no-no, because what's going to happen is that it has a whole lot of salt in itself, a lot of sodium. So if you try to add other seasonings to that, it's going to be taking that sodium content that much higher. So the garlic powder actually has a more pungent taste of garlic with it. So just adding, and when you add a sea salt, that actually picks it up, so you don't have that powdery taste. And so we're going to top it with some oregano. Just sprinkle that on there. Like I said, I don't use measurements, so to your taste, to your liking. And we're going to put both of these in the oven. Now, with I said I did some prepping off camera. So, with your fries, you're going to put them at 425. And with the tenders, you're going to put them at 450. These are going to be for about 25 minutes. And these are going to be for 35 minutes. So, again, the potatoes at 425 for about 35 minutes. And the tenders at 450 for about 25 minutes. So we're gonna put these in the oven. And like I said, voila! So here we have our finished product. So here are the garlic fries. They are so nice and crunchy and yummy. Those are awesome. And then we have our finished product of those panko coated healthy version chicken strips. And actually what I like to do also, to stretch it a little further, is you can cut these in half, and these strips are kind of big. So you can cut them in half either vertically or horizontally, either way. Make it like little nuggets. So, that's where we are. And that's what so you have a kid-friendly, healthy version of chicken strips and fries, garlic fries. So, thanks to everybody.